Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this regular session of the Columbia County Board of Education to order. I welcome you who are present this evening. On behalf of the board and Superintendent Flint, we appreciate your presence and involvement with our school district. Our regularly scheduled board meetings are a time for the Board of Education, the superintendent, and selected staff to conduct important business of the school district within a transparent and public format. To ensure that our meeting goes smoothly, professionally, and efficiently, we ask that everyone maintain an appropriate level of decorum at all times. Please abstain from any conduct that would be disrespectful or disruptive or disrespectful. We ask our students, families, and those who have joined us this evening to celebrate special recognitions and recommendations to remain until all acknowledgments and board comments have been made. After that, we'll take a short break and dismiss those participating in this portion of the meeting. At this time, if you would please silence your cell phone or other communication devices. Thank you for being here this evening, and we look forward to a great meeting. At this time, I would like to call upon Harlan Baptist Church Connections Minister Rebecca Dickerson to lead us in invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts as we gather for this school board meeting today. The holidays are fast approaching, a time of thankfulness and remembrance of all that you are doing in our lives. Thank you for the gift of this community, our students, families, teachers, and staff, and for the privilege of serving them. As discussion takes place and decisions are made tonight, we ask that you give us clarity of thought, unity of purpose, and wisdom that reflects your heart for every child. Help us to listen well, speak with grace, and act with integrity. We ask for your protection and peace over our schools in the coming weeks. Strengthen our educators as they finish the semester, encourage our students as they take tests and wrap up projects, and surround every household in our district with rest, joy, and hope this season. May the light of this time of year remind us of the hope you bring into the world. Guide us, bless this meeting, and help us to serve our community well. In the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next, we are honored to have the 4-H presidents of River Ridge Elementary School and Riverside Elementary School here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I'd like to ask them to come forward and stand in front of us. Oh, what a great group of presidents. All right, if y'all will turn around and spread out so that everybody can, let's move to the right. So these 4-H presidents are going to lead us in the pledge tonight, but I want to introduce them to our audience. When I call your name, if you'll take a step forward, and if you have parents or relatives here, if they'll stand so they can also be recognized. From River Ridge Elementary, we have 4-H presidents John Harris, Jack McLeod, Blakely Ann Reese, Burley Russell, Caleb Stewart, and Molly Walker. Give the Riverside presidents a big hand. And from Riverside Elementary, that's River Ridge, and from Riverside Elementary, we have Blair Atwood, Bella Bean, Logan Clark, Nala Thompson, and Adeline Bupre. Please give these presents. I'd like everyone to stand if our 4-H presidents will turn and face the flag. Thank you, 4-H presidents. Next time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor, raise your hand. Very good, thank you.
I'm opposing, those items weren't added yet.
All right, those opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. Next, we'll turn it over to Dr. Flint for special recognitions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, board members, and to all of our guests, good evening, and thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here, and whether we're celebrating you or you're here to hear about our meeting tonight, we're glad you're here and looking forward to the rest of this evening. At this time, I'm going to call Dr. Carroll forward to help me with the first part of special recognitions, and then I'll lead in the second part. Dr. Carroll.
Good evening. We're excited to highlight an exceptional student from our middle school social studies department for the spring 2025 Georgia Civics Bee. Vivian Kim's journey began with a winning essay that earned her a spot among 19 students selected from the greater Augusta region. She placed first in our local Columbia County Chamber of Commerce Civics competition. Vivian then advanced to the regional competition, where she took first place at the inaugural National Civics Bee this past spring at Grovetown High School. That victory secured her place in the state finals this past summer. Vivian was one of 22 middle school students from across the state selected to compete in the competition, which aims to inspire civic engagement and community involvement among young Americans. Her performance placed her among the top 3 finalists at the 2025 Georgia State Finals of the National Civics Bee. Vivian's third place finish at the state finals is a proud achievement for both Stallings Island Middle School and the Columbia County School District. Vivian Kim, please come forward. And any family members, please stand to be recognized also. Please come forward. She was the principal last year while Vivian was at Stallings Middle. She is currently a high school student now at Lakeside. I would also like to share the 2026 Regional Civics Bee is scheduled for March 19th, 2026, and it will be held at Lakeside High School in the Performing Arts Center this year. Congratulations.
This evening, we are very honored to recognize military veterans who serve within our school district. Their dedication to our country and their continued commitment to our students and community exemplify the highest level of service. On behalf of our entire school district, thank you for your service, your courage, and your unwavering commitment to both our nation and our schools. We'd also like to thank our board member, Ms. Katie Allen, for her service. Thank you, Ms. Allen. At this time, we'd like to share a video in honor of our school district veterans.
thank everyone for their service, and hope everyone had a great Veterans Day. At this time, our board would like to respond with some board comments. Let me start with Ms. Judy Teasley tonight.
That's kind of hard to follow. It's very somber and very, really awesome, y'all. Do we know how many veterans that is in the district? I'm sorry. Well, that in part explains why we're such a great district, so thank you all very much for your service. We appreciate that. We appreciate all the efforts of our students here tonight, demonstrated in the pledge from our 4-H presidents. We appreciate y'all being here, and we appreciate the efforts and the civics beat. That's very near and dear to my heart as a social studies teacher, so thank you, Ms. Kim, for that. Keep up the good work. And thank you, parents, for being the support of those parents to get them where they need to be. And again, thank you for all the people in this building that do what you do to support our teachers and our students as well. So we continue to be blessed, and we're very grateful for that. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ms. Teasley. Mr. Philip Kent, District 1.
We're certainly thankful for our veterans, for sure. A day doesn't do it justice. We could probably celebrate for a month or more. I think of, Coach Grizzle at Stallings, and he doesn't live at Lakeside, where he had to pick up his, and leave in the middle of the year and miss the whole year. He coached baseball at Stallings, coached my son there, and then to come back, a year later and have to pick the pieces back up and get back in gear. But to go off in a service country like that is a pretty remarkable thing. Miss Allen, you like about 18 years old in that picture? And Bright and James Van Meter, those were good shots. Appreciate their service for sure. To all the leaders that came out tonight to do the pledge, the 4-Hers, future leaders, good group. Appreciate having you all. Miss Kim, congratulations, 3rd place. That's pretty awesome in civics. Nationally we hear that civics is down in the classroom, or civics-minded people aren't necessarily out there. Well, I beg to differ, and we certainly sure have proven it with a 3rd place finish in the state. So congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. Ms. Christy Baker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Pastor, for opening us with the invocation. Do appreciate that. Your wise words, felt, and do appreciate that. Thank you so much. To our 4-Hers, thank you so much for being leaders. I say this every week, but we have a different crowd, and it's truly a blessing to have y'all up here, and important for y'all to be here. You're the leaders, whether you know it or not, in your schools. People, other students, other friends look up to you guys, and we do appreciate what you do, and we look forward to seeing y'all in your career in Columbia County, to see y'all take those leadership roles. We thank you for that, and we thank your parents for encouraging you to participate, because it is something extra you do. We do appreciate that. To Ms. Vivian Kim, thank you so much. You can probably teach me a lot. Science and maybe a little bit of math, but mostly science. But civics, you and I might have to have some tutoring sessions so you can teach me a thing or two. But thank you so much for representing Columbia County in 3rd place. Like Mr. Kent said, is wonderful, and we look forward to seeing great things from you as well. To our veterans, I was thinking the same thing as Mrs. Teasley was thinking. We are truly honored and blessed to have that many employees who have given of themselves and served, and just that leadership and the role they bring back to our district is amazing. I tell y'all all the time, I work in a nursing home, and I get the pleasure of taking care of veterans who have served in their late 90s or early 80s, and I have a colonel right now who's in her late 90s, and she always reminds me that she's in charge. So I listen to her every day when she tells me what I need to do. But thank y'all for, and send it out to the veterans. We do appreciate everything that they've done for us in our school district. So thank y'all.
And Ms. Katie Allen.
I just want to start with, I think it's fitting that we start with 4-Hers and move into Ms. Kim with the civics competition and then on to veterans, because they all have something in common, which is service. So as veterans, maybe you serve your nation, but even as students in school, you still serve by taking your education seriously, by going the extra mile. As parents, raising your child and having strong families. As educators, as administrators, doing the work to put these presentations together. So there's so many ways of service that I see connects all of us here tonight. So I just want to thank all of us, including students, families, administrators, fellow board members, and of course all of our veterans. So thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our board comments. At this time, we will conclude this portion of the meeting and take a short break. And if anyone would like to dismiss themselves, you're welcome. We'll turn it back over to Superintendent Flynn.
Thank you. We'll move on to the part of the agenda that is the approval of consent items. If there's any individual item you'd like to discuss further, we can remove that for discussion. Otherwise, at this time, we ask you to give approval to the consent items as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the consent items approval, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Seeing none, consent items are approved by unanimous.
We'll move on to board policies. 3 of these, you'll recall, we went over at the last meeting, board policy IB, board policy IF, and board policy JR, which is A through C. Those have been out on the table. We haven't received any input. So we would recommend approval of those 3 as listed.
Anybody want to make a motion for approval?
I make a motion for approval.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second for approval of board policy IB, board policy IF, and board policy JR. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any discussion?
I do have some points of discussion on board policy IB, the instructional program goals. No, excuse me. IF, instructional resources, that's one where we removed those 4 paragraphs and struck them, and then reinserted the electronic communications aspect. I have no problem with the additional phrasing that we've added. The only thing is I would like to consider that we keep those original 4 paragraphs, and the reason for that is those original 4 paragraphs really detail the extent that the district will go to protect PII, whereas in the additional phrasing, the only statement that I'm seeing on PII is one that says, prevent the unauthorized disclosure, use, and dissemination of personal identification information regarding minors. So it seems to me that it takes 4 very detailed clauses and reduces it down to 1 kind of generic clause. So I would like us to consider keeping that original phrasing as well as adding the additional phrasing to address some of the electronic aspects that we wanted to add to this. And in the future, not for this particular evening, but I would like us to look into having a policy specifically designed to address the safeguarding of student data and specify contract requirements with ed tech companies to protect this data, allow parental access to apps and materials, have a whole policy kind of geared towards that. Is that something this board is interested in doing at a later time?
I'm not interested in answering that question because I have no idea what you just said.
Okay, well, I'll email it to you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. So I'd say back to this policy, could we keep these 4 phrases that really safeguard how PII is handled?
I would just add in and, board members ask questions, or we can keep it tabled for more discussion if we need to do that. But remember, some of the things that we're removing and the personally identifiable information is obviously extremely important to us, but a good bit of this is required in state law, and so we remove that and don't restate state law because when the state law is either adjusted or changed or some of the rules and regulations change, then we don't want to miss that on the other side. And that's one of the reasons on the policies that we list the associated official code of Georgia, so we're sure that we have those as well, but we try not to restate it in policy. So
Maybe we could pull this one out of the group and table it one more month.
Here's a motion to table. Is there a second? All in favor of tabling the motion, raise your hand. Okay. That's just, for clarification, Ms. Allen, that's just as the policy IF, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Okay, so that'll be tabled, and just for clarification, Ms. Allen, you wish to keep these 4 paragraphs in that have been struck?
Yes, for the purpose of additional safeguards for PII.
All right, so my request to the superintendent is to give us an opportunity to review that and see if there's any need to do that.
I'll go back and review and get our folks also to look over state law, make sure we bring that back to you so you know what state law and what might be additional policy. Come up with, based on your suggestions, any additional things that may not be in state law.
And we certainly don't want to have these 4 paragraphs conflict with these 4 paragraphs right we had. So
Yeah, we'll check that too. We'll review it again, just based on your comments.
okay, so the motion is tabled as to policy IF. That leaves policy IB and policy JR. Is there any further discussion of those policies? Any further discussion regarding policy IB and policy JR? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of those 2 board policy revisions, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Seeing none, those are approved.
We'll move on to policy KHE, gifts to schools. There's one addition here. Even though we typically do follow this, we thought it was important to have this put it into procedure, and that's around donated items, making sure those, such as books or any instructional materials, meet the selection criteria. And we would do that in practice, but we felt that there was a good place in policy to add that. So that's the only change to KHE. No need, unless there's discussion, to vote on this tonight. We'll leave it on the table for input. If you have other input or want to talk about it tonight, that's fine. Or through the week, we'll bring it back again with IF for approval later.
Very good.
Moving on to the building program, we do have a number of bid results and a number of other things we need to get through. The first is for switches and peripheral equipment. Due to the current additions and renovations at Evans High School, some of the network communication closets need to be replaced and updated with new equipment. Pricing was obtained for this using the Cisco Georgia State contract. As you can see on the chart before you, we're recommending the purchase of 14 Cisco Meraki switches and peripheral equipment to PC Solutions and Integrations in the amount of $164,599.96. We have worked with them extensively, so at this time we'd recommend approval.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the bid recommendation, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Seeing none, that is approved.
We'll move on to buses. On October 31st, the school district obtained pricing from Rush Truck Centers for 2 54-passenger international school buses with handicap access lifts at a cost of $155,000 each. The pricing we obtained from Rush Truck Centers represents a discount from the Georgia State contract price. At this time, we recommend the purchase of 2 54-passenger international school bus with handicap access in the amount of $310,000. We plan to use $176,220 in state bond funds for a net cost to the district in the amount of $133,780. We will utilize general fund for the net cost of that portion, and as you know, we try to do this anytime the state provides bond funds for this. It's a really good deal for the district, and so we do need some additional buses as well, so that's obviously important, but this is a pretty good chance for us to add to our fleet.
Yes, sir, so moved.
Any discussion?
How's our rotation on buses?
Um,
Some in the school year, or we pretty?
We will, but ours is a relatively new fleet, and so we're pretty well ahead of the curve, and we'll have a number of years before we'll need a lot at one time. But probably like this, you'll see some, especially as the state comes out with some additional funding, where we'll try to utilize that state contract and state bonds.
How many would you say were short? You said we're
not short buses. We have extras. We typically keep many for a number of reasons, mainly as we bring buses in for service. That way, if they're down a little bit of time, they don't go without, a bus. And so, Ms. Thompson, you're in here as well. You want to make any comments to this?
newer buses out on trips for sports and extracurricular activities, and then the older buses fill in for those as they go out.
Well, these 2 additional buses, will this assist us as far as being able to provide needed transportation?
Yes.
Dresses for $133,000.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Any opposed? That bid is approved.
We'll move on to the demolition of North Columbia Elementary. For this project, we solicited sealed bids and received 7 responses by the November 6th bid opening. You can see the bid results before you. We'd like to recommend you award the contract to the low bidder, Chaplin and Sons, in the amount of $205,820 for the base bid amount, alternate 1 for the demolition of the entry and exit in the amount of $17,500, which brings the total bid to $223,320. We recommend approval.
Any discussion?
Are these all local companies? Or what radius do we reach out to?
This one I don't know, Alex. We went on low bid on this. Do you, Mr. Sutton, agree? Chaplin, yeah.
Maybe they're not, other than work for us before that, other than Thompson, I'm not sure.
If they're not local, they're still on this price regardless of their own travel expenses or anything like that.
It should be the full.
Okay.
Versus local too.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Opposed? Seeing none, that bid is approved.
We have a special recommendation to the board at this time, and this is for the naming of the facility at Stalling Island Middle School, and I'd like Ms. Jackson to come forward and give this, because there are some specifics that we go through, and it's also very important for the district. So Ms. Jackson, thank you for doing this.
Good evening. Stallings Island would like to name their football and soccer field Cooper Field after Mr. Brett Thomas Cooper. In accordance with policy FDC, Stallings Island formed a committee and reviewed the nomination on September the 23rd, 2025. The committee submitted the recommendation to a district committee also consisting of community members and district office staff who reviewed the recommendation from the school level committee. Mr. Cooper taught math in Columbia County for 20 years. He started his career in the county in 2002 at Bel Air Elementary. He helped open Lewiston Elementary in 2003, and he taught at Riverside Middle and Stallings Island Middle, where he also coached baseball and football. He also assisted with wrestling and pretty much started the wrestling program at Greenbrier High School while he was at Riverside. Mr. Cooper did pass away from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2022, which is one of the requirements for this policy to have a facility named after you. You either have to have been deceased for 3 years or longer, or been retired and 65 years or older. The committee initiative for naming the football soccer field at Stallings Island after Mr. Cooper is about the impact of a man who both personally and professionally changed the lives of so many people. He was a fierce competitor. He won plenty of games, but his impact and his coaching record far exceeds wins and championships. It was always about the kids and giving time that boosts them in the classroom, on the field, and in the community. He wanted to help grow their confidence and to be great in all their endeavors. The district committee unanimously agreed with the recommendation to name the Stallings Island Field Cooper Field after Mr. Brett Thomas Cooper. If approved, the school will have a dedication ceremony and officially name the field in front of family, friends, and the community, of course. And that day is to be determined. And we'll certainly let you know once it's approved.
I'll move. Second. I think Mr. Cooper is very fitting.
They've been trying for 3 years, and we kept telling them, you have to wait 3 years. But to the day, they submitted that recommendation. And like you mentioned, and I failed to mention that, but he is married to Mary Beth, who was married to her for over 24 years, and they have 3 children, Jackson, Peyton, and Brenna. So I know they're very touched by this moment and for times to come with the dedication. Thank you.
Is there any further, without any further discussion? If there is none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. That's unanimous.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson, for presenting that, and Ms. Tarleton going through that entire process, and all the others that went through that. At this time, we have one final step to take as we close out Westmont Elementary School, and we recommend approval of the closeout resolution before you. We will send this to the Facility Services section of the Georgia Department of Education for the final release of state facility funds in this project. So we recommend approval at this time.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the resolution to close out Westmont Elementary School, please raise your right hand. That's approved.
We'll move on to the bond resolution. As you know, we've been preparing to issue general obligation bonds to fund much needed improvements, which will start with Harlem High School. The design funding, as you also know, for Harlem High School was previously approved, and you've seen a number of those renderings, and we're looking forward to once this passes starting construction. This morning we successfully bid the sale and secured great pricing at 3.79%, so congratulations on that. Much of that goes back to the financial stewardship of this district over a long period of time, and you were able to read through the ratings that we were provided from both Moody's and Standard & Poor's, and we were very excited to see those so strong. We also have an amazing team who did this work. I'd like to thank a couple of them before we get to the vote on this. Jamie Wilson, who is our advisor, Ken Pollock with Butler Snow, who's our bond attorney, Larry Fletcher, our general counsel, is in the room, and of course Alex Casada, our CFO. Great team. I know there's a lot of others that helped, but we're very honored to be able to work with this group and get such a very good pricing. So at this time, we ask that you adopt a required resolution that authorizes the issuance and sale of $180 million in bonds.
So moved. Any discussion?
Dr. Flint and Chairman Deacle, could you state in good faith that you conducted this process in full transparency to the best of your ability to board members and citizens?
I can. Yes.
May I share some of my reservations for discussion that I find this process has not been transparent to board members or to taxpayers?
Floor is open.
Has the district shared the bond terms or amortization schedules to the public? And were they shared prior to the meeting on August 26th when this was first voted upon by board members?
I think this process has been going on for about a year and a half. We've had not only retreats with the board where we've gone through many of these specifics, but we've also answered all of the questions that we've been asked. So as well as we could, I think we have. I don't know that we need to go back and repeat all of that, but you've had access, and we've given you the information that you've asked for.
Were board members provided?
We had an earlier preliminary resolution vote in August, did we not?
We did.
Were board members given the amortization schedule?
What exactly are we doing right now?
Were board members given the amortization schedule
I'm sorry, but
prior to the
what are we doing without? I mean,
I'm raising my reservations that the public was not made aware of the amortization schedule, and I've only received it today at 3 o'clock. Specifically, in the fact that interest is going to cost taxpayers over $112 million.
Ms. Adam, I
Is that something that we would
I
normally
think you've
inform the public?
publicly stated on a number of occasions that you're against borrowing the money and you're against
No, that's
updates
not
and
correct.
improvements to Harlem High School.
That's not correct.
So you're on record for doing that. I'm on record for supporting the updates to Harlem High School. Borrowing money is absolutely essential for us to bring that school into the 21st century. This is your district. This is the high school that sits in your district, and we've already done many improvements to other high schools throughout our county. And
Are you for transparency and keeping your word to taxpayers, Chairman Leopold?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Are you for transparency and keeping your word to taxpayers?
Excuse me. Very transparent.
Okay, historically, in 2019, taxpayers were told that East Boston referendums allowed school districts to issue bonds to build immediately and then use East Boston revenue to repay the bonds over the life of the 5-year East Boston. How is it that we tell taxpayers their bonds will be repaid over the term of the East Boston? And this particular bond, it was repaid over 20 years. I've asked for schedules. I've asked to see what it would look like repaid over 7 years and 10 years. Those have not been provided to me. Why have they not been provided? Why are we only looking at a 20-year schedule?
Provided a ton of.
You did not provide that.
What qualifies you to,
I'm trying to keep my word to taxpayers. When we tell taxpayers, if you approve this, we're intending to pay this back over the life of the East Boston, and then we quietly, without even informing board members until after the original vote, bring in something that has a 20-year 4 East Boston cycle payment schedule with $112 million in interest alone. That's almost the price of a school. And we want to do it. That's not transparent.
This, I would just say, the resolution that was approved by the voters was very clear that we were able to use debt service. And as a matter of fact, over that last year and a half, through multiple public meetings, we stated that there was a possibility that we may need to use debt service to do that. And over the last maybe 6 or 7 months, we've seen where we're able to do that without adding a debt service or anything else to the millage. And so that's good news to the taxpayers. We've been very forthright with y'all on this. The voters knew it for the resolution that they approved, and now it's y'all's turn to make a motion to either approve or deny the sale of these bonds. I'd ask for the question.
Not transparent is our bonds advisor is receiving a commission on this. Is that correct? Our financial
Question,
advisor?
please.
okay, there's a motion to call for a question. I'll second that. It's not debatable. All in favor of ending debate, please raise your right hand. All opposed? All right. The motion to end debate passes 3-2. And so now the motion is on the floor to adopt the bond resolution. And I will ask all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? All in favor of approving the bond resolution as presented by the superintendent? All in favor of approval of the bond resolution as presented by the superintendent, raise your right hand. All opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm abstaining due to transparency concerns.
Okay, so the motion passes 4-2 with 1 abstention, and I'll sign the bond resolution as presented. Thank you, Dr. Flynn.
Thank you, board members.
Just make a comment, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly.
I don't appreciate some of the statements that were made. I don't like the direction that necessarily Kay was going here with this, but I also believe that Mr. Chairman said that she was not for rebuilding schools, and that's not true. I want to make us aware in this room that she wants to build schools. She doesn't like the plan that was in place for it. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but that was not true what she said.
That's absolutely correct. I've said all along, I want to support these bonds because I support the projects that they stand for, but we must be transparent. We must protect taxpayer money. And 20 years, $100 million, that's not a good deal. That's not a good deal for anybody, and we need to do better. And I believe we can do better.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on.
I'm sorry, I need to make one statement, please.
Unless,
I resent the notion that anybody is sitting here saying we are not transparent. Now, if you miss something, felt that you weren't provided information, if you chose not to investigate further. However you feel like you missed it, I regret that. Please don't sit here and act like I'm part of a board that is not transparent. And that will be the end of my comment.
Chairman Deagle, do you agree with that? Dr. Flint, do you agree with that?
That question's already been asked and answered. Can we move on, please?
I just want to clarify that you believe that I did not pursue this information. That is the reason why I don't have it. Am I understanding correctly?
I think you've been given all the information you've asked for. We've been completely transparent. And, you know, if we don't do the bond deal, then the construction doesn't get done, is the bottom line. So, I mean, you could be in favor of building schools, but how are you going to pay for it? Are you going to do it for free? Nobody's going to do it for free. We can't sit around and wait 20 years to update the school. So if you oppose the bond resolution, then you're basically opposing our building plan. That's
That's a false dichotomy to say I have to agree to a bad deal if I will support building schools.
You're welcome.
You don't have
It's
an
a bad deal.
But you can't call us, say that we lack transparency.
I can say that because we hired a financial advisor who makes a commission off of this. That's not transparent.
I don't think anybody would do it for free. So,
Are
thank
we
you very much.
giving more
And
rights to
I think we need to move on, and I hope that you've been able to air your differences.
concerns about taxpayers?
All right, well, let's move on to superintendent reports.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Georgia Apply to College Month. If you have a student that's going to college next year or considering that, or might be coming up in the next couple of years, this is a really good thing to listen to. We try to remind everybody every year about this. Hopefully it will continue, but November is Georgia Apply to College Month. There's a lot that goes along with this. All month long, we're promoting the new Georgia Match Direct Admissions Initiative, as well as the No Fee November. A lot of people will limit the colleges they apply to, but this is a way to go ahead and get those in early and not have to pay those fees for many of the colleges. Beginning in October, the Georgia Student Finance Commission sent every high school student, senior in Georgia, a letter with matches to in-state post-secondary institutions, which the student has met admissions requirements based on their current HOPE GPA. Keep in mind that the month of November is also No Fee November, which many post-secondary institutions in Georgia are waiving application fees. Additionally, on March 12th, students will have the opportunity to participate in the annual Career and College Expo at the Columbia County Exhibition Center. This event is a partnership with the Columbia County Chamber of Commerce to help link high school students with a future career, whether it includes a four-year university, technical college, trade school, possibly military service, or going directly into the workforce. Local businesses, colleges, and universities from Georgia and the Southeast will provide information on the various programs offered at each university, along with admissions criteria. We look forward to all the great information that will be shared with students. On Thursday, November 6th, the third annual Columbia County School District Healthcare Expo took place at the Sport Department Complex. You see some great pictures there. More than 400 high school 11th graders who are currently enrolled in a second-year healthcare pathway had the opportunity to explore careers available to them right here in our community. The opportunity is made possible in partnership with the Georgia statewide AHEC and Georgia Higher Education Healthcare Initiative. Career fields represented included respiratory therapy, dentistry, dental hygiene, emergency medical tech, occupational therapy, pharmacy, pharmacy tech, medical illustration, nursing, physician, social work, and a whole lot more. I was able to walk through there while the students were transitioning from one school to the other. It was even hard to get the students out of the building to get on the bus because they were really engaged with all of the folks that were there. So kudos to all of our partners and people who showed up. Special thanks to our healthcare businesses, education partners for sharing that valuable insight to our students. We're honored to recognize and celebrate School Speech Language Pathologist Appreciation Week. SLPs help break down barriers to learning, which help inspire achievement and success. We want to thank this group of educators for their dedication to public education, and we're grateful for the work they do and for being a part of our team here in the Columbia County School District. This week, we'll also celebrate our outstanding school psychologists for National School Psychologist Appreciation Week. Our 9 school psychologists and 3 psychometrists are able to bring their specialized skill set to provide insight into how students learn so they can achieve at their very best level of success. We extend our thanks and sincere appreciation to all of our school psychologists and psychometrists for all they do to collaborate with students, parents, and staff. The week before Thanksgiving is traditionally recognized as American Education Week. This week, we join school districts across the country in recognizing the importance of public schools and the value of ensuring that every child receives a quality education. Most importantly, we're grateful for the show of support our community provides, which help enrich the learning that happens in our classrooms. We want to thank our staff, parents, and community members for their support of public education in Columbia County. And just a note, we'll be having Principal for a Day this Thursday to celebrate this time of partnership with the Chamber. So thank you for our Chamber and many businesses that are involved. Board members, that concludes my portion of the meeting. Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Dr. Flynn, on the match program, let's say we have students that are displaced, because it said it gets mailed to them. Like, if they're displaced or if they're homeless, how do we get that?
That's a good question. Dr. Campbell, they can log on to get that. Remind me of the name so I don't mess that up. Georgia Futures. It was on the tip of my tongue. I was like, it's something. So they have accounts on their Georgia Futures and can get the information on there as well. So thank you for saying that.
Make sure they know that they.
And the counselors do, yeah, they provide that. Most of them probably go there anyway more than the letter because they are providing that information. So yeah, that's probably where most of them get it.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is public participation this evening. 7 speakers have signed up and submitted requests to speak. Each speaker is allowed up to 3 minutes to address the board. As stated in our policy, we ask that you provide your intended comments while refraining from any derogatory remarks. We also ask that our audience show proper decorum by listening respectfully and avoiding any actions or comments that might distract or detract from the speaker's time for remarks. Be our time. Our first public speaking participant is Ms. Priscilla Bentz.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? My talk for 3 minutes is about the libraries, helping the schools get rid of pornography in the school libraries. Something's rotten in Denmark. No, it's rotten at the Columbia County Board of Education. Remember that old slogan, what would Jesus do? Would you invite him to come to your school library? Probably not. 4 months ago, I gave Ms. Gregg, who is the supervisor of the media specialist, a 215-page handout that I copied at our church, and then the following month, 3 months ago, I gave the same handout to you, because I had not heard back from her, and now I haven't heard back from you. I had been hopeful that you would get rid of the books with pornography in the high schools, because in June, I got a very hopeful email from Ms. Gregg that said the 7 books that I recommended be removed from the middle school libraries were going to be either removed or moved up to the high school. So I treasured that email. I was very hopeful the same thing would happen in high school. Are the high school children that much more mature? Are they that much less important? You seem determined not to answer the question. According to Matthew 18:14, it is not God's will that any little one should perish, and yet we set up our children to go down a dark path when these books are readily available and approved by the schools. These books were discovered by TakeBackTheClassroom.com in 30 of our county schools, totaling 259 books. And the reviews we did were based on the quotes from 32 prevalent books. Besides the basic need for communication, I requested a policy allowing citizens of our county, and not just the parents, be involved with the libraries. The school uses taxes from all citizens of the state, not just the parents. This should be allowed during business hours without having to go through paperwork, special appointments. We need transparency at the library. We need involvement of caring citizens. There needs to be a policy that concerned citizens, not just parents, can bring book challenges to the administration and the board when a reply of action can be, so that a reply of action can be expected. This open door policy is desperately needed to clean up high school libraries. Who is assigned to the library problem? Chairman Deacle, did you assign somebody? It is worthy of discussion that at least a vote and then a response to me so that I can let the 5 people who worked with me on this project in May would know the answer. The lack of concern about the number of young people who will become addicted to porn because of this attitude is shocking. No one can predict who will become addicted to drugs, alcohol, gambling, marijuana, opioids, or porn. However, we do know that early introduction has been proven to be linked to addiction from decades of research. And porn addiction is correlated heavily with sex crimes. I was going to read excerpts today out of those 32 books in our high school.
All right, Ms. Vince, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Marlena Bergeron. Ms. Vince, you can give those to us later.
Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Chairman. And that was a great photo, Ms. Allen. Thank you for your service. I want to also thank you all for last night's Let's Talk section on cyber safety to help us parents try to keep up with ever-evolving online threats and predators. These car keys and cell phone are far more dangerous than any library book, and last night confirmed it for me. My Catholic high school's 11th grade English teacher assigned Toni Morrison's Beloved. Guess how many parents complained? The same as the number of students whispering and feeling titillated about it. 0. I'm here to appeal the conclusions made by a closed-door book review committee. The rubric they used wasn't completed nor included in the public record. We have no access to the dialogue that preceded the vote and the corresponding rubric. You wouldn't tell a student who gets a D or an F on an essay you didn't meet the requirements. You would show them how, where, and why so they understand, so they can grow as writers, because the specific is terrific. In IFOP9 under School Media Committee, at least 2 students, grades 5 through 12, should be on the committee when selecting new materials, but not during the challenge of materials. This is wrong. Upperclassmen should be included. These are their books. If one student finds a book helpful for their education or development, that should matter. Under selection criteria, page 2, subset A, has the clause, when considered as a whole. This clause needs to be reiterated before subset B, C, and D. Out of respect for committee members' time, you don't require them to read the whole book. Out of respect for taxpayers, you don't buy them copies. You give them excerpts and journals. But does this respect and model the critical thinking skills we're trying to teach our students? Don't judge a book by its cover, don't take something out of context, and don't trust someone else's opinion before verifying it yourself. I was so disappointed that Jandy Nelson's 2015 book, I'll Give You the Sun, is going to be removed from our high schools. It received the Michael L. Prince Award for Excellence in Young Adult Literature and is on Time Magazine's top 100 YA books of all time. I read this book as a county and regional library board member when it was challenged by the same people, and it deserves its accolades. The author spins a spicy story of sibling rivalry with shifting family dynamics and language that's rich, relevant, and raw, while interweaving robust allusions to art and science. It is not for 12-year-olds, but it is for high schoolers, especially 12th graders who might be on their own in a year. Parents should make that call with their students using library checkout notifications. This book may actually help young adults, especially when it comes to spotting, surviving, or supporting victims of sexual violence. Maybe our goal as a community shouldn't be to remove books, but to raise men and women who will never engage in sexual abuse or call victims of sexual violence a hoax. Parents need an appeal process to your challenge process, and I urgently request that you revise subset items to include when taken as a whole, and require committee members to read the whole book.
Your time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. All All right, our next speaker is Ms. Shannon Duggan.
Good evening. My remarks this evening are for Chairman Deagle and Dr. Flint. I attended the board retreat meeting in August where the bonds were discussed. Dr. Flint, at that board retreat, after stating you would not address questions brought to you by one board member and then a second board member, you stated that the plan was good. You boasted that the district consulted with the experts, referring to Alex Casado, a district employee, at your direction, and Mr. Wilson, identified as the K-12 financial advisor. When in actuality, as Mr. Kent stated at the board retreat meeting, that Mr. Wilson is the bonds salesperson. Although they may be experts in finance, one as an employee and the other as a salesman, they are certainly not a neutral third party. You had an ample opportunity to share any other experts that were consulted, yet you were silent during that retreat meeting. And this evening you reiterated those individuals. Mr. Wilson, as a bond salesman, certainly is getting paid for his services, and I have no problem with that. I would expect that he would. What the issue that I have is that he's the advisor. It's like, why would the salesperson be the advisor? I would think that all of you that have any common sense would say that's probably not the best advisor when you could have a third party. So you have to ask yourselves, is it likely that Mr. Wilson did provide valuable advice? Absolutely. Probably the best way that he could close the deal, hence a 20-year bond. When we had 13-year bonds before that, 10-year, 7-year bonds, shorter bonds, and now we have a 20-year bond. Chairman Deagle, going on to the board meetings, I find it frustrating as a citizen for you continuing to silence and shut down board member discussion. You're the chairman. The expectation would be that you would be transparent and operate in integrity and allow discussions. So my questions are, what are you afraid of? Why are you continuing to silence candid discussion during board meetings? Whether it be the finances or whether it be the books. I may not agree with some of the things about the books that are being said, but I absolutely agree that it needs to be transparent, and that has not been transparent as well. 2020, I started attending these meetings, addressing book issues. And although I'm on the opposite end of what the lady that spoke before, as far as what should be in the library, I completely agree that it has not been transparent. I've experienced that myself. So going back to the money, how is it that this money is being spent? Why all the secrecy? Why are board retreat meetings published publicly like the other meetings? The only time that I've ever been able to attend them after years of asking and expressing my interest in attending them is because board members are now making that public. Not you though, Mr. Chairman. Not you, Dr. Flint. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Duggan. Our next speaker is Ms. Brenda Heidman.
Thank you, Board of Education members. More students have mental health issues, anxiety, depression, lack of purpose, and suicide. There are bullies, gangs, violence, drugs, weapons, and crime in the school. Despite programs, counselors, interventions, police presence, security checks, the problems continue to worsen. Students get arrested and ruin their lives without understanding the choices they made. They have no guidance. They listen to peers who don't know any better, and they're lost. They don't even realize they have better positive options in decision making. Columbia County builds and renovates schools. Everything looks nice, but it lacks what students need. The schools are an empty shell for meaningful development. Student morality, discipline, accountability, and academic performance all suffered when the 10 Commandments were removed. There are now 2 and 3 generations of parents, educators, and administrators without the experience of having the 10 Commandments in school. The adults in charge don't know what's missing because they never had it themselves. Some have even seen or never seen or read the 10 Commandments. As a result, students struggle to find meaning in life. Schools were safer, students more disciplined, and there was emphasis on character development and academic achievement. Students respected their teachers, other students, and themselves. Only a few in this room may remember those times. The 10 Commandments should be placed in schools again. Students learned honesty, integrity, accountability to parents and teachers. Students knew they had to answer to God, and this created stability for them. The first commandment, God says He is the one true God, the Creator. Students learn that they have to answer to God for their actions. The fifth commandment tells students to obey their parents, and by extension, the teacher and other authority figures. The sixth commandment says don't kill others or oneself. Therefore, don't bring drugs or weapons to school. Don't hurt others by bullying or fighting. Students learn respect for others and themselves. Don't steal, don't lie. When students see the 10 Commandments every day in school, the positive message is reinforced. That message can help them pause and think before committing wrongdoing. It can help them search for better options. Columbia County schools have a code of conduct section for character education. 27 character traits are identified. One of these is respect for the Creator. I was happy to see respect for the Creator listed because what better way to teach this respect than displaying the 10 Commandments in the schools.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Joan Krupski. Is Ms. Krupski present? Yes. Oh, there she is. Thank you. I'll take your time. I was. You came from the other side of the room, and I was.
Having me back. So when I did submit the request to speak at this meeting, I was contacted by Ms. Gregg. I had expressed a concern that a non-parent member in the community appeared to be challenging books, and that those books, some action was taken to remove, I guess. Maybe not as many as they hoped, but some have been removed. So I was told that the district can initiate its own internal review of books. Apparently, the district review process was not present in the prior version of the operating policy that had stated that parents or guardians could file challenges against books only. The authority for the district to initiate its own challenge of its own book was added to the policy on May 19 of this year. And then as a coincidence, a non-parent member of the community had just submitted these requests to you all the week before. So my question was if the policy was updated to allow her requests to be able to pass through and be presented as the district's own. 9 days later, a book review meeting was held, resulting in books being removed from the district. So I want to highlight, use the word transparent tonight because I love it. It's the word of the day. I believe that transparent communication and policies might stop a lot of us from having to jump to our own conclusions. To my knowledge, there's not a way to know when a book is removed, if that was done by an internal district review or from someone challenging the book from the community. There, were not anything provided by the district other than the rationale saying age-appropriate guidelines, which is the same thing that's set across all of the books that were removed. So it was like a copy-paste. So the truth is, maybe it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe this is what you all want, and you're just using a random concerned member of the community as some kind of a scapegoat. So it's hard for all of us to know without more clear communication. So it appears that the books are being evaluated based on personal opinion rather than defined standards, but maybe you guys are happy with that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You said May 9th,
Next.
2025?
I'm sorry, Our next speaker is Karen Parham.
Good evening, I'm Karen Parham, CEO of the Freedom to Read Coalition of Columbia County. I'm here to summarize the policy analysis memo we are submitting regarding the district's reconsideration process. In May, the district received 6 book challenges from an individual who is not a parent in the school district. Under the previous procedure, those challenges would not have been eligible. Instead of convening a review committee under the February 2025 procedure, the district revised IFOP 9 just 6 days later. The May 19th version weakened key safeguards, including removing the explicit requirement that committee members examine the full work using a rubric. The review committee was then convened under this weakened procedure. For both the May and October cycles, the district produced no completed rubrics, no evaluation notes, and no documentation showing how criteria were applied. Even under the revised procedure, the agenda anticipates rubric-based evaluation, and the official voting form requires votes to be based on rubric ratings, yet no such ratings were recorded. The district has also shifted to reviewing only excerpts. Even if these reviews are framed as assessing age appropriateness rather than harmful to minors, the committee must still review the full work, apply well-defined criteria, and document that evaluation. Without defined standards of documentation, the process risks viewpoint-based removals, which federal courts have repeatedly held violate the First Amendment. The district has stated that it does not retain committee notes, review packets, or deliberative record. Under the Georgia Open Records Act, public agencies must maintain the documentation necessary to show how decisions were made. Without these records, the district cannot demonstrate that a legitimate reconsideration occurred. These committees have also been meeting behind closed doors. Under Georgia's Open Meetings Act, a committee created to deliberate on public business must meet openly, unless a specified exemption applies. No exemption applies here. Since the district has stated that review materials are not retained and that committees are meeting behind closed doors, our organization will be requesting mediation through the Georgia Attorney General's office to address compliance with the Open Meetings and Open Records Acts. Because the current process lacks documentation, neutrality safeguards, and reviewing the books in full, we are also asking that all books removed or restricted in 2025 be restored to shelves and normal access. The memo we're submitting tonight includes 9 recommendations across 3 areas: restoring evaluative integrity, ensuring transparency and legal compliance, and establishing safeguards that promote consistency and viewpoint neutrality. These recommendations are not adversarial. They are a roadmap to ensure that the process complies with Board Policy IF, Georgia's Sunshine Laws, and constitutional principles. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kara Parko.
I'm a public school parent, and I'm here again to express my frustration that the district is continuing to secretly ban books as recently as a few weeks ago. District Operating Procedure IFOP 9 originally allowed parents and guardians to challenge books to the school principal, and a district committee could review if that decision was appealed. On May 13th, Priscilla Bentz submitted book challenges to the board. She is not a public schools parent. 6 days later, on May 19th, the district changed IFOP 9 to now allow the district committee to review books as needed. On May 28th, a secret committee met behind closed doors, voted, and banned books district-wide based solely on the documents submitted by Priscilla Bentz. It's clear that the procedure was changed for one person who is not a public schools parent. She cannot challenge books under the harmful to minors policy, so the district is now creating loopholes to review her materials directly and ban books. I do not co-parent with this woman. Why are you giving her power to decide on our children's education while you shut out parents? These committee meetings are not open to the public. There is no requirement to read the books. An open records request found no meeting minutes, and participants' names are redacted. You can't even be sure that parents are on this committee because the district is hiding this information. Despite what the chairman has told me, these meetings are bound by the Open Meetings Act because the school board policy directs the district to appoint this committee. The district is violating the Open Records Act by redacting names of participants. You are acting in bad faith. And you are concealing these book bans from parents even if you believe you've created a loophole. The district needs to replace the books banned in these secret meetings and create a new procedure that is fair and transparent. A last note about my recent emails with Judy Teasley in October. Her response to my concerns was to state, I am beginning to wonder if public schools need a media center these days. I am appalled that a school board member would ever advocate for the removal of school libraries, but this appears to be the current mindset of the board. In my recent interactions with the board and district, I have been misled and dismissed. We need a superintendent who will actually respect the right for parents to be involved in their children's education and a school board that will hold them accountable. Since we don't have that, the parents of this district will continue to advocate for their children despite your best efforts to remove them from the conversation.
All right, that concludes our public participation. The next thing on our agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is executive session. Do you have a motion? Yes.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to retire to executive session to discuss legal, real estate, and personnel issues.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to everyone who attended this meeting. Thank you for our public participants.
Determining the next subject was discussed during executive session about the open meetings law in the state of Georgia.
Thank you. That's
Make a motion that we approve real estate matters discussed in executive session. Second.
all in favor, raise your right hand. That's approved.
Also make a motion that the personnel issues discussed in executive session be approved.
Second.
All in favor of approval of personnel sheet, please raise your right hand. All right, personnel sheets are approved.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.